I made $140,000 selling this on Amazon, but I also made a big mistake that cost me $150,000 in lost sales. But still, despite this mistake, I managed to do $60,000 profit in my first 6 months selling this product on Amazon. First, I'm going to show you all my numbers and my cost and profit. Then I'll share with you step by step on how I did it. And then at the end of the video, I'll share with you guys the biggest 3 mistakes that I did. My name is Jules, and my annoying cat changed my life. I felt overworked with my real estate business, and I wanted to create more free time for my family and I. I kept seeing those young guys online making millions of dollars with their business. And one night on YouTube, I found this guy named Travis showing people how to make money online with the Amazon FBA business model. I then joined this Amazon FBA program named Passion Product Formula, and it was time for me to find a product to sell on Amazon. And that's how my annoying cat changed my life. At this point, when I was working at my desk doing my real estate, my cat would always jump on the desk. So I thought to myself, there must be a ways that he can be near me. So I went on Amazon and looked, like, is there a bed that I could, snap on the desk or something like that? Guess what? It didn't exist. And in just a few months, I launched my product on Amazon called Kobui. I was the first to sell this cat desk bed on Amazon. And if you're like me and you're working from home and you want to have your cat beside you, you can go check us out on Amazon, Kobui Desk Bed. And I'll make sure to smash that like button because I'm going to share with you step by step how I started my Amazon business. And let me tell you, it did cost me a lot more money than it needs to cost you. So please pay attention because you could be saving a lot of money. It cost me nothing to do the research. All I did was have an idea. So I Googled it. I found out that it didn't exist and that people also spend a lot of money on their pets. So I realized that if I could be the one to hit the market, I would have a winner idea. But if you need help finding a product idea, you can use this tool called Helium 10. If you want to unlock all the cool features of Helium 10, there's a discount code in the link description. Next, I came up with my own brand name and I went on Fiverr to have a logo created for the brand. But my mentor in Travis Amazon FBA program told me I needed an easier name to remember. I was so glad I invested into the program because they stopped me from going too deep into some mistakes that I was going into. And personally, that's how I like to work. I like to be efficient. So for me, when I don't know something, I'd rather pay to get a personal coach and learn the right way instead of going and making all the mistakes that these guys already made. So the next step I did was spend $20,000 to hire a marketing company because I knew I wasn't good at marketing. They did all the creative work. They did the logo, they did the picture of the product, packaging designs, boxes, thank you card. They did a whole package for me. Remember at the beginning of the video, I told you guys I had no time. So that's why I hired this company. Basically, because they did all the work, they presented me the last result, I was happy with it, and then we moved on forward. I told them my ideas, and then they had a couple of different brand names, styles, and idea presented to me. Normally, people do these steps separately. So you can have your logo and design created on either Fiverr, Upwork, or 99 Designs. Then product photographers will cost a few $100s. But keep in mind, I wanted to be the first in the Amazon store. So that's why I went with a bigger marketing company. And if you want all this creative stuff done for you, I found a company that's called FBA Creative. They can create product images, logo, branding, product packaging, plus they can build your entire listing, description, bullet points. They have different pricing levels, and let me tell you, they're really affordable compared to what I paid. I then spent $1,500 on a lawyer who opened up my incorporation for me in Canada. There's a great video below on how you can protect your business legally. But essentially, if you want to register your company in the US as an LLC, a limited liability company, this will cost you around $200 from wyregisteredagent.net. Or you could do a DBA, which stands for doing business as, for $99 on LegalZoom. It's great for marketing, but won't offer any legal protection if you ever get sued. My next cost was $800 for the trademark. I had to staff myself as that category king, and for this, I knew it would cost me a lot. But this idea was too good to mess up. I then spent $5,000 on Fiverr with the lawyer to patent the idea. But getting a patent doesn't automatically protect you. You need to hire a lawyer and spend some more dollars to enforce your patent if someone copies you. The next step was to get the Kobui manufacturer. So I spent another $5,500 to make sure that this product was a premium product. Then it cost me $22,540 to have the first run of Kobui made by my manufacturer. This run made me 3,000 units. To find my manufacturer, I went on Alibaba, and I then reached out to some companies that were already producing some pet products, and I told them about my idea and had them sign non-disclosure agreement. But before I could officially start production of the Kobui, I needed to spend another $600 on 3 different samples to make sure that the product was up to my standard and what I was expecting. Each sample needed some fixes that we all managed to settle rapidly. If you're looking for a manufacturer, you can use Alibaba.com, where there's thousands of overseas manufacturers. If you're looking for a manufacturer in the United States, there's thomasnet.com, or you could just use good old Google. I wanted to make sure that when I launched, the product exploded, but this ended up making another expensive and wasteful mistake. I sent out some Kobui sample and spent almost $1,000 to work with around 15 social media influencers to do video collaborations. I thought this would be automatic success, having influencers with cat-loving audiences. I told myself that would be a winner idea, right? But honestly, the results were not good at all. The whole process ended up taking too long. I would need the time to communicate with the influencers, the back and forth, sending them the product, seeing how they work with Durfee, having the video made, like all that stuff all together, when maybe, I don't know, 5,000 person in their audience would see the video, and then how many of them would go buy the product on Amazon, which I had no tools to track. Would it be good or not? And at the end, I didn't get enough engagement, but learning is part of the process. My next cost was a total of $12,000 to get my product shipped. So the first step was to have the Kobui shipped from China to 2 different countries. One was Canada and one was United States. For the United States, I worked with called Amazon Global Logistics. It's a service that Amazon's offer. They basically take care of your whole shipping. And for Canada, I had to find a freight forwarder. Canada was way more complicated than working with AGL. AGL was total breeze. They took everything. They manage everything. I just had a couple of emails, answer questions here and there. But other than that, it went to Amazon FBA directly. And I'd say it got in the Amazon warehouse almost a month faster than Canada. While the production run and shipping was underway, I hired another company that cost me $8,000 to make a real website for Kobui. I wanted the people who Google the product to see it was a real business, not some drop shipping junk. For me, this was part of building a legitimate and premium product. I also made sure that all the traffic that went to my website, even though it was not a lot, was redirected to Amazon. Then it cost me $100 to get my UPC code. And with that $100, I was actually able to buy a bundle of UPC codes. UPC stands for Universal Product Code. It's the barcode that there is on the back of any product that you scan at the checkout. If you just need one, you can go to gs1.org and buy one for $30. And it cost me $39.99 to set up my Amazon seller account. You're gonna need this to be able to sell on Amazon. And now was ready to launch, but I just spent $76,000 to launch my business. It's a lot of money, but I knew it was a great product. I was so excited. In the Amazon FBA program, Travis said that there's 230 million customers in the US alone, and 56% of these customers start their research on Amazon. So I knew if everyone was searching for cat product, they would find Kobui on Amazon. And even though I made $140,000, you need to know that revenue is not profit. I'm going to go over the month-by-month numbers, and you're going to see my sales going up like crazy. And I'll reveal my real profit at the end. But I'm also going to tell you the huge mistake I did that cost me, I'd say, a minimum of $150,000. So please pay attention here. You do not want to make the same mistake as I did. Trust me. I made over $5,000 in my first month selling on Amazon. But remember, this is revenue. This is not profit. I sold 77 units and it cost me almost $900 to make them. And there's a lot of fees that you need to pay when you're selling on Amazon. I paid over $800 for the Amazon referral fee. This is a 15% fee you have to pay for the opportunity to sell on the Amazon platform. The second fee cost me over $600 for the Amazon pick and pack fee. FBA stands for Fulfilled by Amazon, which means they will manage to take your product and ship it to your customer. And for the first month selling on Amazon, I made over $3,000 in selling profit. I started with high expectation of success for this product, and I followed almost every step of the Amazon FBA program to make sure I had all the chances on my side. And this result for my first month for me was absolutely incredible. I'd initially calculating selling a couple of Kobudis per day, but the sales starting scaling like really fast. And this actually led to my biggest mistakes. So pay attention. I'll explain you how I lost more than $150,000. And you don't want to make this mistake because most new Amazon sellers make this mistake. But I wanted to constantly capitalize on my success. So over the course of the next 6 months, I invested more than $22,000 on automated PPC campaigns. PPC stands for pay per click, which means you pay to have your product appearing on the top of the page for Amazon search results. And you pay a small fee every time someone clicks on your listing. Travis has done over $7 million in sales on Amazon. And in the FBA program, he basically tells you how to master the PPC to skyrocket your sales. There's a link in the description to sign up. I know it seems like a lot to invest, but it's my second month that the magic really happened. In September, I had a massive jump. I went from $6,000 in sales to over $24,000 of sales in one single month. It cost me around $4,000 to make those units that I sold during the second month, and over $3,500 for the Amazon referral fee, plus $2,800 on Amazon FBA fee. And in the second month selling on Amazon, I made almost $14,000 in profit. Seeing these awesome results, you know me by now, I wanted to act fast. I started noticing some reviews came in and there was the same issue coming over and over again. So I started working immediately on the second version of the product. While I was working on this new version, I also realized that I made another mistake. I sent too many units to Canada. At that time, I was selling about 12 units per day, which was 10 times more in the United States than in Canada. But I almost sent the same inventory in Canada and in the United States. I should have never spent thousands of dollars to ship that many units to Canada in the first place. I didn't lose the money, but the product was selling 10 times more in the United States than in Canada where I live. I couldn't predict that, but now I know that in the future, when I launch a new product, I will test in the US before testing in Canada, and I'll make sure the Canada testing sample is way smaller than the US. And then month 3, the sales starting growing beyond expectations. Over the next 2 months, the sales went to $30,000, then $35,000, and it just kept getting better and better. After all expenses in those 2 months, I made over $37,000 in profit. The PPC campaigns were working, and guess what? I didn't see the explosion of sales coming during the holiday season. December was my biggest month in sales. I made over $45,600 in revenue. And after all the expenses, I made over $26,000 in profit. Think about it, that was incredible. I was finally adding a second source of income to my family, and my vision was coming together. But there was a big issue, something that could ruin my business. And this is a mistake that most new Amazon sellers make. In January, things changed for me. What happened is that sales went up so high, I didn't plan for this in my inventory. So I got out of stock by the end of December in the United States. So what happened is that when you go out of stock on Amazon, you lose your ranking, which means when you get back in stock, you need to get back that ranking to get that sales power again and make all those sales and all those numbers. That was a costly mistake for me because at that point, let's look at December, for example, I made $45,000 in sale. I got out of stock for January, February, and got back in stock mid-March. So just right there, if I had inventory, my sales would have been stable. That's 40 grand times 2 plus another 20 grand. That's 100K right there. Another point, which is hard to quantify, those sales that I didn't do during January, February, and March, I didn't get the reviews for them. So my listing got less reviews than supposed. My ranking went down. Like there's a lot of stuff that happen when you go out of stock, and you really need to make sure that if you start a product, you don't go out of stock. It's really important. I had spent $100,000 creating that product, and my customer loved it. I was spending on PPC, and my product was coming number 1 in search results. What I try to do to mitigate the damage is that when I saw my inventory go at critical level, I stopped all my PPC campaigns. I raised my price. I started to slow down the pace at which I was selling. And then my worst fear happened. The copycats who made cheap knockoff version of the Kobuddy had their ranking go higher and higher and higher, and they made more sales because my product was out of the shelf. Now I got the new version of the Kobuddy on the shelf, but it took 2 months. I didn't get back in stock until March. This loss had a huge impact on my growth. Do not let this happen to you. But just for final breakdown, and before going out of stock, in my first 6 months on Amazon, I've made over $148,000 in revenue. But remember, revenue is not profit. After taking all expenses out of the sales, I was left with $61,000 in profit. It's really amazing that so many people love the Kobuddy product, and I'm super glad that I was able to move fast. Thankfully, I moved just as fast to fix the inventory issue. And now, with Kobuddy back high in search results, I'm even working at expanding the product line to different fabric colors and designing slips that fit over so you can have a Kobuddy in whatever color you love. One cat and one mentor helped me build my passive income business, and I know you can be a success if you do too. Honestly, joining Travis' passion product formula changed my life. If you join it, you won't regret it. You'll get over 100 step-by-step tutorials, one-on-one coaching, and exclusive Q&A. There is a link in the description to join. But if you aren't ready for that yet, Travis has a complete 10-hour FBA course that you can get by clicking right here.